Welcome to Excel 2016 Module 9. This is working with charts. I'm going to break this module up into multiple small videos so you can watch the ones that you need help with. You might not need help with all of this, so that you can just take a look at the ones that you're interested in. So our case is David LeBlanc, Vice President of Merchandising for Pepper's Green Basket, wants us to create a chart from worksheet data that shows sales of organic fruits and vegetables in the California stores. So what we're going to do is we're going to create and customize two different types of charts for him, and then we're also going to add some spark lines, which are just miniature charts, and it helps to illustrate the sales trends for each store in the worksheet. The module objectives here: we're going to understand and plan a chart, we're going to create a chart, we're going to move and resize chart and chart elements, apply chart layouts and styles, customize chart elements, enhance a chart, create a pie chart, and create spark lines. So basically for this module, there's probably going to be right around 8 little videos that are going to all add up into one big video if you want to watch it, one right after another. So on the first 2-page tutorial, Excel 230 and 231, which is what this video is going to cover, this is understanding and planning a chart. So basically we have this worksheet that has information in it. So we see that we have stores. It is showing us the sales for produce in California for January, February, and March. We have a total column that will total up all of the Oakland sales, all the San Francisco sales, all the Los Angeles sales, and all the San Diego sales. We also have a total row that will total up all of January's sales across all of the stores, all of February's sales across all of the stores, and all of the March sales across all of the stores. So we can look at this and we can say, oh, okay, Oakland had the lowest amount of sales for January, and the highest amount of sales was March for San Diego. So we can take a look at the information and we can see what's lowest and what's highest. But it took a little bit of time. I mean, I had to scan through all of the numbers. When we want to show this very quickly, we would use a chart. So, and a chart is just a visual representation of the data that's in a worksheet. So it can illustrate the growth in sales from one year to the next in a format that makes sense and it's very easy to see an increase or a decrease. Okay, Excel has a huge amount of tools that can help us create these charts. We just need to understand the different parts of a chart. So what I'm going to do here is we're going to go into this right here. And is it this one? It's this one. So here's our chart. And there are different parts of charts. So we need to understand what they are. So this is pointing here. This is the horizontal axis. Can also be called the x-axis, or possibly even the category axis. Okay, so we have Australia, Britain, Canada, France, Germany, India, Japan, USA. Those are all categories. Okay, and they are basically, if we take a look at a worksheet, those categories would fall in the records. Okay, in the rows, as a row is a record, right? Okay. So then we can take a look at this. This would be then the vertical axis. It can be also called the y-axis or the value axis, because we have values here. And these are determined by the values that are actually in the worksheet. So it takes the largest one, the largest value, and adds, it rounds it up to the next 1,000 or whatever you have specified in your settings, and then it goes from there. All right, so Then we have axis title. So this would be the vertical axis title, and this would be the horizontal axis title. This is going to be the chart title, right? And then we have these grid lines. So this would be a primary horizontal grid line. You could also add secondary grid lines, so it'd be minor grid lines in between the primaries. This whole entire area right here is our plot area. We're plotting out our columns to show our information. This is the legend. So if we take a look, each one of these bars is a different color. So we have blue, red, green, and purple for Australia. I have blue, red, green, and purple for Britain. So what does that mean? If I come over here and take a look at the legend, I can see blue is represented for quarter one, is representing quarter one, and then red is quarter two, and green is quarter three, and purple is quarter four. Okay? And we'll take a look at the relationship between how we select our information and where it actually ends up in our chart. We also have each one of these bars is called a data marker. So we have a group of bars for Britain. This would be considered the Britain data series. Or we could also use the Australia quarter one data series, which would be all of the blue bars, okay? Or the Australia quarter two, which would be, I'm sorry, the quarter two bars, which would be the red bars. So we have Australia quarter two, Britain quarter two, Canada quarter two. So this can be considered a data series, or each of the red bars, or each of the green bars, or each of the purple bars can be considered a data series. So the next thing we have to deal with is, okay, what kind of information do we want to show to the people that we're giving this worksheet to? You know, this is going to be let's see, David LeBlanc, who is the Vice President of Merchandising. He wants to see these charts from the information that he has collected for the organic sales, because maybe he has some sort of a presentation he needs to give, and he wants to be able to distinctly and succinctly show this to, you know, investors, things of that nature. So look here, you know, San Diego had this huge amount, this huge growth from January to February. Invest in our store, you know, that kind of thing. So first we need to identify the purpose of the data, and then we have to choose the appropriate chart type. And there are many chart types. So if we look at Excel 231, we can see that we have an area chart, and it shows relative importance of values over a period of time. And you can kind of see an example over here on the right-hand side. Then we have a bar chart, which compares values across categories with minimal emphasis of time. So that's basically a chart that comes out from the left-hand side and goes across. Column is comparing values across categories over time, and that is the default for Excel. If you are using a different spreadsheet program, you could see that the column chart is actually named a bar chart. So you just need to be aware of what type of information you can show using the different types, even if they're named differently. Then we have a line chart. It shows trends by category over time. And then a pie chart is going to show the relationship of parts to a whole. And we'll get into that. Scatter, hierarchy, and waterfall, we're not going to use those in this class. You might get into those in BTEC 150 with Darylyn. But for this class, we're going to focus on bars, columns, and pies, and some scatter or line charts. We'll probably use some of those a little bit in these assignments. We also need to figure out how we're going to present this information. Are we going to print this out for our audience? Are we going to project this on a screen for our audience, or are we going to do both? So it makes a difference as to how you're going to present the information, as to how you're actually going to create it. You can interpret charts very easily. So if you look at the bottom of page 231, I suggest you go through these. So which month had the highest sales for all 4 stores? So we could say the month that had the highest sales is going to be, let's see, January. No, March. It's going to be March. Looking at March. So I can take a look at that chart, and we see March is going to have the highest sales. Which month showed a bigger jump in sales for the Oakland store? So first we're going to take a look at the chart, and we're going to see Oakland is the light green. So we see a huge jump between January and February, and then we just see a moderate jump between February and March. So we can, distinguish that information by just taking a look at the chart versus taking a look at the actual numbers, which if we have, rows and rows and rows of numbers, a chart can be much easier to interpret. Okay, so that's basically understanding and planning a chart. Again, these are going to be very short videos. We haven't really gotten into the meat of anything, but if you're having issues trying to figure out what the x-axis is, what the y-axis is, go back and take a look at the beginning of the video, and you're going to see that we go through those. Okay, so join me on the next video, which is going to discuss creating a chart, and we'll go from there. Thank you.